Welcome to Smut and Sensibility,
a podcast for romance readers and romance writers.
By romance readers and writers.
We are Amber,
Allie,
and Marie,
a group of learned ladies who love talking about the romance genre.
In this podcast, we will talk about our favorite books, writing craft, and how we make room for a creative life in real time.
So buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome back to Smut and Sensibility, everyone, a podcast for romance readers and writers by romance readers and writers. I'm Amber. I'm a corporate attorney by day and a romance reader and writer by night.
I'm Allie. I'm a doctorate writer and I'm studying history part-time at Oxford. And we are so excited today to have our illustrious guest, Olivia Dade. We're going to be talking about her newest release, World's Okayest Oracle, Reluctantly Seeks Demon. We can't wait to get into it.
Author extraordinaire and US Today bestseller. Girls in the house.
Yeah.
That is very sweet. I usually, instead of saying author extraordinary or anything like that, I just say Olivia Dade, author and swamp hag.
I mean, that also is amazing because, we all just want to be alone in our caves in our cozy clothes, living in our imaginary worlds. What more could we want?
Living the crone, soft pants, and caftan life.
I love that.
Are you a tea drinker, perhaps?
I do drink some tea.
Okay.
But I'm so boring. I mostly just drink water.
I mean, that's delightfully
really
healthy
that's
for you. It's amazing.
The water tastes really good here in Sweden.
Rub it in.
Speaking of,
I'm sorry.
What isn't better in Sweden? Allie and I were joking that we love our husbands so much, but the one thing they both lack is that they don't have citizenship somewhere else. So we could also jump ship and head to some better countries.
Yes. I was unfortunately, you will only provide me one passport. So,
but I love you anyway.
It's a shame.
I'm sorry. You've had your time. Now it's done.
That's right. It's been a good run. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Olivia, for coming on the pod today. So as we mentioned, you are here to talk about your newest release, but you are also the author of many, many other books that we love. We are going to be talking about World's Okayest Oracle, Reluctantly Seeks Demon, like I mentioned, that's the next installment of the Supernatural Entanglement series.
Here's the first one.
Zom rom-com. Oh my God. I can't wait to talk about that because I'm sure we will get into it today once we talk about Hugh and Gwen. Also, one of my beloved series, I know Amber too, the Harlot's Bay series, Love Struck Librarians, Love Unscripted, spoiler alert, also one of my favorites, and There's Something About Marysburg series. So you've been busy the last couple of years, Olivia.
Just a little.
I have, but it's been 12 years, which in romance years are like dog years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I am basically Rose from Titanic, where it's been 83 years.
She's walking to the back, about to drop. Hopefully you will drop your nuggets of wisdom on this podcast today. That is our diamond, our hope diamond.
That's incredible. Well, I mean, I think the nature of everything has just changed a lot. When I started really reading romance after I graduated college, and I was like, wow, I have some time. The book blogs were huge. Goodreads was actually, it looks exactly the same as it does now, but that was looking nice back in the day. So,
yeah, have you been using the Storygraph at all as well?
I do have it. I'm bad at updating it though.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was I avoid both because that way lies madness for authors.
True.
So yeah. I try to avoid that and NetGalley and other things like that as much as possible. But I actually, the last few releases, I've been asking my publisher to do a giveaway, not just on Goodreads, but on Storygraph too, so that there's hopefully we can build an alternative to the Goodreads.
Yeah. I also I've played around a little bit with Fable. I like that too. My problem with tracking is it's an object permanence thing for me. So the one nice thing is that I do use the Kindle app and it just immediately syncs to something to track it once I've finished it.
Even though we don't
and
love
I'm really
that,
bad at manually entering it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why it's the Amazon ecosystem. A lot of it is about ease of use, and that's part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we hop into the interview, should we hop into our book nook this week? So Olivia and I have two books to share with you for our recommendations for the week. I'll hop in first. I'm sharing Dolly All the Time by Annabel Morgan, and I listened to this via audiobook with the amazing Julia Whalen. It was so good. Are you ready for my pitch, you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Do you love fake dating where opposites attract and the heroine is a strong single mother? Where the quiet hero is misunderstood heir to a rich family business and a legacy where he never puts his wants first? Where the location is almost a character itself, with a small beachside community with rich side characters, including a best girlfriend we all want and deserve? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I think you will love this book. Have either of you two read this or heard of this book? I mean, it's been pretty popular in the interwebs this summer.
There's been a lot happening, but I will say a quiet, like self-sacrificing male main character is catnip for me. So that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was delightful. I was heading home to Wisconsin. I had a family event. It was unplanned and I had all this time. So I like started the audiobook, and after 6 hours in the car, I'm like, I'm here already? I need more time with the audiobook. I can't get out of the car. Okay, I'll read the quick blurb and then I'll give my review. If they start by pretending, can they end with something real? Dolly Brick has never met a problem she couldn't solve. Not when her mom left when she was 12, and not at 39 when she moves back with her son to Whitefield, Rhode Island for the summer to keep her dad and brother from losing their family home. So when she comes across Stuart Whitefield, annoyingly handsome scion of the Whitefield family, with a flat tire at the wrong end of a very public, humiliating breakup, it is in her nature to help. But Stuart's proposed arrangement ends up being more than either of them bargained for, because as public dinners and high society benefits turn into sunset boat rides and kisses that hit her bloodstream like a ghost pepper, Dolly starts to feel something more than helpful. She never relied on anyone else besides herself. Can she really start now? Dun, dun, dun. So I think this is honestly one of my top reads of 2026 so far.
Really?
Yes. I loved it. I mean, it doesn't hurt that it's Julia Whalen as well. Like, she just brings the story alive.
She does.
I love fake dating and a slow burn. So like right away, it was like trope catnip for me. But the tension that Annabel was able to create through the small movements and banter between the two really had me hooked. And the character development between the main characters was like so addictive and delicious. I know that's probably weird to say, but that's how I felt about it. Their wounds also made you just like feel for them and wanted to root for that happily ever after, and you wanted to help them get past it and get there. I never had a feeling sometimes with side characters, they maybe steal too much, or you're like, I want to get back to the main characters. I never had that feeling. Like, even when the side characters came, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. So the side characters really added a lot of color to this one, especially Dolly's best friend, Naomi, which I kind of like hinted to in my pitch. But her brother, Christopher, has a traumatic brain injury, and her son, Gus, also is around like 13 and 14. So that brings an interesting dynamic. So yeah, that's what I have for Book Nook.
That sounds so good. I have a road trip coming up too, so I think I might move that one up on, the ever-growing TBR list.
She's thick. She's sturdy.
She is thick, and we love her for who she is,
Yeah, I just keep adding to her and I don't feel guilty about it. Like,
No.
I know some people are like, I can't add another. I'm like, why? We have unlimited time.
That's right.
I can tell you all those authors appreciate your purchase whether or not you ever read.
That's true too.
That's valid. That's valid too.
Exactly true. You are supporting even if she stays there for a long time.
Optimally, yes, you also read and love, but honestly, we're grateful for the sale no matter what.
I love that. That actually makes me feel better if something's a little dusty or like a couple of years old. That sale already supported them in addition to me reading it now. Thank you.
Yeah,
Olivia.
Exactly.
Olivia, did you have a book you wanted to share for Book Nook?
I do. And by the way, that sounded incredible, Amber.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to do nearly as good of a sales job, even though it deserves just as good of a sales job. But one of my dear friends is Emma Barry, who I think is one of the best writers in romance. She is so thoughtful in her writing. Her writing is very witty and warm, but also really grounded in people's like lived experiences in their work and in their life and in the setting. The characters are always well-intentioned, even when they're coming at things from opposite sort of angles. and just very lovable. She's a wonderful person, but she's also an incredible writer. And she's sort of switching gears a tiny bit. Her newest book is her first sort of national treasure. Do you mind swearing, by the way?
We love it.
Yes, we do. This is
National treasure,
explicit.
but with fucking.
Oh.
It is.
Oh,
So it is.
I have to text my sister immediately because she loves National Treasure. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but this is so
No.
exciting.
Yeah, it's called You, Me, and the Conspiracy. It's coming
Ooh.
out later this year, I think in a couple months.
Oh, we don't have to wait
I
long.
don't know the exact date. I have read it. It is amazing because it has everything that I love about her work. You know, again, the thoughtfulness, the wit, the warmth, all of it. And then a lot of tense suspense and action. And, you know, there's going to be a connected book that she just finished writing. And she's so good. And I'm so excited to see, like, I think action romance is having a little bit of a moment the last couple of years. I hope that she gets the sort of wide, enthusiastic, like deeply, violently enthusiastic, well, not violently enthusiastic,
But maybe a little.
extremely enthusiastic audience that she deserves, because she's been doing great work for a long time now. And I just really want to see readers fall in love with her work the way that I've always loved her work.
Well, that pitch was amazing, Olivia, and I'm adding it to my TBR. We've talked about before we like National Treasure, but there needed to be more romance. It was so tiny. Yeah. This also, I loved The Mummy, because that's like action adventure, but love story. Yeah. So like, give me more.
This has like history, and it has action and suspense, and it has, you know, flirting and sexual tension. It's A+ work.
That is all of the things that I love. I love romantic suspense. I love an action romance. I love National Treasure. I would love to do like a scavenger hunt in like Philadelphia, you know, like a la National Treasure. Like, I think that would be a really fun girls trip, personally. So this sounds amazing. And my sister is going to freak out. She loves National Treasure and she works at a bookstore. So Jenna, if you're listening, you're going to have to get that in the bookstore. Get that in the store.
Great book, Nook. And now we're going to move on to our main event, our craft corner, with none other than Olivia Dade. Thank you again for coming. I'm going to read your little bio from your website for those who are listening who may not be familiar with you. Olivia grew up an undeniable nerd, prone to ignoring the world around her as she read any book she could find. Her favorites, though, were always romances. As an adult, she earned her master's in American history and worked in a variety of jobs that required the donning of actual pants. Unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Colonial Williamsburg interpreter, high school teacher, academic tutor, and of course, librarian. Now, however, she has finally achieved her lifelong goal of wearing pajamas all day as a hermit-like writer and enthusiastic hag. She currently lives outside Stockholm with her delightful family and their ever-burgeoning collection of books. Yay! Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Before we get started, on your website, your portrait illustration is amazing. And I noticed it was done by Lena Kaufman, and I love her work so much. I have a little bit of an illustrator crush on her, if you can have such a thing. I do. It's maybe weird, maybe not. But she's done a lot of the covers for your books too. Like, how was working with the Queen on all those illustrations? If you can give us a little tea.
I feel so fortunate to work with Lenny.
Lenny, okay. I never know if it's Lenny. Yep, okay.
Yep, Lenny Kaufman is incredible. When I started working with her back in, must have been 2019, she'd really only done, I think, very few book cover illustrations, and I'm not sure she'd done one for a major publisher. So I feel very fortunate that she was willing to work with, at the time, you know, with Avon, for spoiler alert, was sort of the big one. And I really credit a good chunk of my career to how she killed it on the spoiler alert cover.
Yeah.
It was so stunning and so iconic instantly, and exactly what I wanted. I mean, I had said that I wanted a fat, beautiful character front and center on the cover, where it was not like a sort of formless blob. You know, sometimes the illustrated covers are very small, sort of, you know, faceless. I was like, I want her, April, front and center. I want her to be undeniably fat, where and I want her to be beautiful. And there are some illustrators where have trouble sort of capturing sort of beauty in different types of bodies. But Lenny, I asked for her as my illustrator because I had seen her portfolio and seen how beautifully she captured different types of people. And I knew that she would do something wonderful, and she did. She is so kind and so talented and so wonderful to work with. I have worked with her. I've lost count of the number of covers I've worked with her on. My 5 self-published books, all of my trad pub books. Except for, like a couple of things where I had a story, like a novella in a larger collection where they had the same types of covers for all the books.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if I have a choice, it's her. Always. She's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So my girl crush, my illustrator crush is like well placed.
It's justified.
It should only grow from here.
Yeah. And Olivia, you describing her work is how I feel about your written work, that, characters come and real people come in all different sizes and shapes, and being fat isn't something wrong or dirty, and we are beautiful in all of our shapes. And so I love that you found a cover artist that shows it on your covers and reflects it in your work, because I know it has helped me see people that are more reflective of what we actually look like the average person, and kind of trying to slowly, we're doing our hardest, but combat all of this toxic, body image that has been shoved down our throats culturally for how long. So I can say thank you as a reader for that, because that's one of the reasons I became an instant fan of yours and devoured your backlist once I found you.
I mean, body diversity of all types, always very important to me. I think that there's a little bit of a pendulum shift as far as sort of fat acceptance and fat positivity, sort of maybe going the other way from where it was, 5-10 years ago. I hope there is a place for a long time to come in trad pub as well as in indie pub for characters and readers of all shapes and all types of bodies, because everyone deserves to be able to see themselves on the page.
Yeah.
100%
it just
agree.
makes for better stories, diversity, representation.
Yeah.
We're all not cookie cutter. So you will forever have 2 readers over here, regardless of what is popular.
Yeah, whatever happens, we're here.
We're here to stay.
Well, I appreciate you both very, very much.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. We're so happy to talk about your newest release. If you have a prop, we can show it to everyone. That gorgeous cover. Oh my gosh. They're so cute.
They're so
They
cute.
are.
They are so
They
cute.
are.
Just Gwen's just little sassy, over the shoulder. So cute. World's Okayest Oracle Reluctantly Seeks Demon is your most recent release, which is available everywhere now when you guys are listening to this. So this is very exciting. It's the second book in your Supernatural Entanglement series. Zom Rom-Com, thank you, Amber, is the first one in that series, which do not pass go. Read that. Definitely read it. It is so good. How would you not want to witness a gentleman named Gaston wearing red macrame undies, who's a disgruntled French vampire / YouTuber. So if that, I don't know why you wouldn't want to read that, but it's fantastic. And so this book picks up with Gwen, who is the Oracle at the big finale scene of Zom Rom-Com, and kind of continues on the story. And her love interest is Hugh, and they're trying to figure out what the hell is happening with the government outside the containment zone. So the official blurb is Gwen Wexloff might be able to see the future, but not when it matters. Her visions invariably involve piddling issues, which means unlike most oracles, she spent her life predicting for everyday humans instead of international power brokers. After a clutch of brain-slurping zombies escapes from their walled-off compound, though, Gwen experiences the first genuinely world-altering vision of her life, and now she needs help. Unfortunately, that help comes from Hugh Black, the same starchy but annoyingly cute demon who watched her bomb her Oracle verification test a few years ago. To Gwen's dismay, the two of them will need to work together to unravel the deadly conspiracy behind the zombie breach, despite their complicated past and the secrets they're keeping. Even with her newfound power, she couldn't have foreseen how quickly they both want more than a simple partnership, but the clock is ticking, it always is, and the fate of humanity is at stake. Gwen and Hugh will have to decide how much they're willing to risk for the unexpected passionate love, and a future together might prove very short indeed. Yay. Dun, dun, dun. So good.
Olivia, how did you come up with this idea? And then did you have the ideas for both book 1 and 2 at the same time, or did it come more gradually later?
Way back at the very beginning, when I first started thinking about these books, I actually came up with sort of the basic idea of Gwen's character first, the idea of world's
Oh,
okayest oracle,
interesting.
just because I thought, first of all, that was hilarious.
It is.
But the idea, a lot of paranormal romance involve people who have a great deal of power. And even though in this case, Gwen actually does end up having a good amount of power, she has not had it for the vast majority of her life. I wanted to have someone who was not the best and the brightest necessarily, like the most accomplished person, who had the most power. For me, it would be more interesting to write someone who was not always super successful, sort of in the eyes of the world, but had to form a life and a career leveraging every bit of talent that she has and every possible sort of forming relationships, surviving because of the community that she forms around herself. That was really interesting to me to do. And then to look at, okay, so she does suddenly have power. We've got to figure out why. But is that a good thing for her and for the world? And what does it mean to have that amount of power sort of in the world? What would that actually mean? What about the isolation of having power and sort of what it would mean for her as far as the personal cost? And I thought that was sort of an interesting thing to explore amidst a lot of jokes about cheese and and my dark cheesemonger cheesemonger academia.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
the mashup of our dreams, to be honest. I loved this premise about Gwen because, as you were stating, I love that she was like so feisty and intellectual in her own way. Like you said, she had to make do with barely nothing and isolated, and she makes this community around her. And it's not as common as, and these stories are great too, but the paranormal romance tends to be like, you're the chosen one, right? Or you have a lot of power from the get-go, and we're battling this like very big enemy from the very beginning. And this doesn't start that way. And it's so interesting. And you build the world and her character in a very easy way. Like I just felt like I was plopped right into the action, even though you're building all this stuff. So it was delightful.
Yeah. And then I thought, well, who would be the person that she would the least want to work with? And it would be someone who watched her sort of in desperation bomb her
Poor girl.
Oracle verification test when she was 18, that she kind of had a crush on. And originally I actually did have her, the actual part of the test where this is not really spoilers. It's in the first several chapters where she basically, like in a panic, pretends that Jurassic Park is happening. like a worldwide blockbuster. She just gives the plot of that. Like it's a
like no one's seen it.
Like they're gonna know.
Like, and I had that, but then it was a little too sad. So we took that out. I may put it on my website at some point. I thought it was also quite funny, but it is dark humor because in that moment, she's desperate for her family, to sort of provide resources. One of the other things, I try to make it fun and actiony and light, but there are things I sometimes want to say. And one of the things is sort of what it means, sort of lost potential for the fact that people who don't have the resources that people who are wealthier have, the sort of potential that's lost.
Yeah.
Because of that. That if you don't have medical care, if you don't have access to the same type of food, all those things sort of can direct the course of your life and deprive that person, but also deprive the world what could have been if they were given those resources.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be a rom-com, but also that's again part of what made her interesting to me. And Hugh, I love a starchy male main character who becomes completely unraveled and unstarched because he wants and, cares so much about the female main character. So Hugh, I just love how weak he is soft he is for Gwen, even though he's very much a starchy sort of rule follower at heart, but he's willing to break all those rules if it means keeping her safe and happy. So
I was telling Amber, I was halfway through the book, and he's not like Reese Winterbourne in some ways, but he also gives like not 5 fucking minutes energy at the same time. And but like with horns, and I loved that. I loved that about him, you know?
For those listening, Allie did put her 2 fingers above her head as little cutie horns to try to be Hugh. So,
well, that is a huge compliment. If he reminds you of that in any way, then that's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, and also other series that like we don't have time to talk about, but Dr. Matthew Vine also I think kind of gives that not 5 fucking minutes type energy too, in a little bit of a quieter way. But I'm into these heroes that you write.
At First Fight is such a special book to me. I love all my books and put all of myself into all of them. But At First Fight is one of the ones where there is so much of it is sort of ripped directly from my heart. And Athena, but also Matthew, he was such a super special character to me. So I'm glad you love him as much as I do, because I really love tightly wound characters who would do absolutely anything for the people that they love.
Yeah. And I loved your mental health representation in that book. And it's not really a spoiler. The take care scene between the two of them is like sticks in my memory. Like I just reread it anticipating this interview, and I was like, oh, it's almost as good as the first time. It's so good.
Before I started writing that book, and I'm happy to talk about it, I love that book. One of the 2 scenes I knew would happen would be the scene with the ladder.
Oh, okay.
Without the spoiler. Yes. And then the scene in the bathtub.
In the bath
were the 2 things that I knew from the very beginning. I wanted to write a messy female character. Most of my female characters sort of have their shit together, and I often mine is not together, and I wanted to make sure that I was repping the messy and the mentally ill, because I have chronic depression, especially seasonally. And I really wanted to somehow try to balance a sort of a real description of what it's like to be seriously depressed in a rom-com.
Yeah.
But you did it. It's the power of rom-coms, like you can have heart and depth and honesty within the fun and the jokes and the wit, you know?
But the heart of the book was that, I think the scene you're thinking about, the bathtub scene, that is the beating heart of the book for me from the very beginning. That was, a lot of it was building to that scene. When people say, well, they're in the bathtub together, assume that it's sexual, and it is intimate. No. It is deeply intimate. Yeah. It is not sexual. Yeah. And I mean, there will be sex.
There will always be sex. Don't worry.
But that's not what, that is intimate rather than sexual and caretaking. And that was, I love that scene. It's one of the scenes I'm proudest of writing over the course of my career.
You should be. It was fantastic. And you can really tell that scene anchored so much of the book. Like you could really tell. And then I'm not going to spoil it, but when they do have sex and you find out that little secret, and I was just like, oh, that's another just like little trope Parmesan cheese.
Allie loves that trope.
I love it. I mean, I was just like, oh, yes, please. So it was perfect.
Well, I mean, that was actually not even my original intent, but I was trying to think through like his romantic history. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, without giving away too much, like, how would this have happened? And I could not come up, given the sort of the character that I built out. Yeah. And the circumstances and who he was as a person who was not a casual person. Then I was like, well, here we go.
Answer. This is it, and I like it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it absolutely makes so much sense with the character, but then you're like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, I love this. So bonus. You weren't expecting it, but it was a good little reveal. So I appreciated that a lot. And I would be happy to have any further spinoffs. Anybody in like the historical society, like, anybody else that wants to come back from Harlot's Bay, I'd be very
maybe eventually obliged. Harlot's Bay book 3?
If you can share. I don't have any books contracted in the series right now. Now, if I were, but the world, I built it so that, I have sort of vaguely ideas for lease. If you read the book, you can see there was stuff going on in the background, but I kept it non-detailed enough to give myself some room to play and, sort of figure out whatever I'm feeling in that moment, whatever story I want to give for her. but she would probably be the person I would tackle next, would be Lise. Even though I often find it unbearably self-referential. When romance writers write romance writers, you really have to make sure that it's not like too meta.
Yeah.
But she'd be a very different sort of writer. I am not. I mean, the Supernatural Entanglement series, Sadie Brazen, who is Lise, we know that. It's not and Sadie Brazen writes monster romance, which I do not do. Although I will say my Supernatural Entanglement series comes closer. I was like, what would Sadie Brazen want?
What would she want here? And I need to make her proud.
I was
Monster
like,
smut.
Monster
I have
smut.
to give the guys, if they're not human, I had to give the guys special features because I felt like
Absolutely.
you gotta fulfill, I guess, what they call it, the promise of the premise.
That's
I
right.
felt like you had to,
And as
like, if you're
Allie
gonna
already
have
said,
a
he has
vampire
horns on the
romance, there had to
cover.
be some
So,
biting.
That's
the
right.
horns are there.
And if he's gonna be a half demon, then there has to be something special there.
There's got to be something going on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but hopefully I can get back to that. I would really like to. I love Harlot's Bay. So
I just love the world that you created. I could talk about it all day. But who was your favorite character to write in World's Okayest Oracle? Was it Gwen? Was it one of the trolls?
Oh my God.
it was, I will say, I think in this one, it was a cross between Hugh's sister,
Oh, okay.
Eloise,
Yeah,
was a
yep.
great deal of fun for me to write.
Yeah.
I love my main characters too, but they're both a little more serious this time. So a lot of the more ridiculous side characters. I love the trolls.
Oh,
Always love the trolls.
So...
You will be seeing more of them. And also, I really love Death. I love Sexy Satan.
Sexy
Yes.
He's
Satan.
not really Satan, but he just looks like the Sexy Satan statues. But Death that you meet in the realm below, that you meet toward the end of the book. The realm below sequence, I had so much fun with that. The idea that it's like this administrative,
Yes.
the idea that an administrative structure, like they're digitizing their after death records.
Yes, incredible.
And just I really enjoyed writing Death and the Fates at the end. I thought that was a great deal of fun for me. So
They were awesome. I'm a millennial, so I always think of like when the Fates, I always like kind of go back to Hercules and like the way that the comedy of death kind of was giving that like a little bit of Hades and the Fates vibes, and I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved the whole book, but the stuff that happened in the realm below was for me probably the part that was the most, because I also just love building out a new sort of world, like a world within a world, and the realm below is sort of a world within a world, which I really love.
And then even at the end a little bit, the few interactions between Eloise and Death, I really liked, like a few little nods there. I don't know if it was just for comedic or if maybe down the road, but I also was like, don't you have somewhere to be? And kind of like giving her looks and stuff. So I was like,
it will be revisited.
Okay.
I've written book 3. I've got to do my edits. I just got my edits for book 3 not long ago, and the issue of Eloise and Death will be revisited.
Okay.
I'm very happy to hear this.
Did you have a part that was maybe most challenging to write with this book?
This is sort of, again, a sort of a meta writing thing, but here's the deal, is that this book was due in spring, which meant I had to write it over the winter. And as I've mentioned earlier, I have chronic seasonal depression. And I love how this book came out. Some books are easier than others to write. This one was not as easy as some of my other books to write until I got, probably part of the reason I'm also so fond of the Realm Below stuff is by the time I was writing that, the days were getting longer.
I was just saying, the sun was coming, spring was on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, during the winter, the shortest days here are about 6 hours of potential daylight. And most of the time there is no sun because it's cloudy or rainy.
Right.
And so you can go weeks without seeing even a minute of sun. And it's just very difficult for me. And what I learned from that was I do not want to do this again. And so I worked with my editors and they were very kind. This is Berkeley. My editors at Berkeley. They were kind enough. I said, can you give me till start on this until mid-February so that the days are already significantly longer? I was like, I think it'll be better for everyone.
All of it.
You know,
Yeah.
there'll be easier for me to write, but also fewer edits because we're not trying to edit out work that's not the best thing because I'm just not in great shape. So they did, and they gave me the time I needed. And the third book is Eat, Fae, Love. And
Olivia.
Dying. No.
I was so happy with myself when I came up with that title. I was so happy with myself. Anyway,
Stop.
but yes, it's Eat, Fae, Love. And I had so much fun writing it, and I wrote it when the days were already longer, and it was so much easier. And, you know, hopefully, and I love the book. It has actually very light edits because, again, I wrote it when my brain was sort of ticking along, you know, a little bit more easily. So that was the hardest part. I love how it came out, but it was just harder to write because I was trying to write it while depressed.
Yeah.
And that's just very difficult. So for me, at least, I'm sure some people can, but I have trouble like showering. Yeah. So writing a book when I'm very depressed is challenging.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm really glad that you were able to get such appropriate support, you know, from your publishing team. Like that's awesome. Cause I feel like you don't always hear, you know, about that in the industry. So like that's an awesome.
Or from any employer.
Yeah.
Right?
Or just, any employer, anywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They were super kind about it. I mean, it meant that once I started writing it, I had to write it pretty, like I had to be very disciplined.
There was no time to fuck around.
No. But it meant that, you know, because I was in better shape, I could have a really like pretty rigorous schedule of writing and a very disciplined schedule of writing. And I think, now I know. Yeah. And the best part was the winter, as much as I wasn't capable of a ton, I was not really sad because I wasn't angry at myself for not being as productive or knowing that what I was writing was not what I wanted to write because I wasn't as sharp as I wanted to be. And so it was relatively pleasant, actually, like to just
give yourself the grace and time just to be like, I need to heal during this part. And this is a hard season for me. And instead of just pushing yourself to wait.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, you know, I'm really happy. You know, it's the good news is the writing of World's Okayest Oracle, particularly the first half of the book, taught me sort of what I did not want to do again.
Yes.
You know, in the future. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And hopefully my edits made it so that it's a smooth experience, you know.
It definitely was. Yes. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. And everything is learning. So even sometimes when we're white knuckling it, if we can set ourselves up for success in a different way, then that's, you know, it's worth it. I do feel like, and you had kind of touched on this about like how much fun you were having writing Eat, Fae, Love, which I just can't stop saying that name either. That is such a fun name that's such a fun title. But I do really think that your humor, your enjoyment, like you can really feel that your voice, like you can just really feel like you're having a good time. The jokes are for you, like they're for us, but they're also for you too. And it just comes off of the page. I would love to know, in World's Okayest Oracle, what were your like id list items that were like specifically for you?
Well, I mean, I had gotten into cheese.
Okay.
I mean, it shows.
I mean, I had started making cheese platters for my family.
Incredible.
And I've been doing some research on different types. And I was like, well, I mean, I can use this in the book. There's a lot of id stuff. There is all the stuff with the administrative afterlife. I love that. Like teasing out, taking the sort of magical thing or sort of this mythical thing and then making it like hilariously bureaucratic.
And just so mundane, right?
Yeah,
like something so magical, whimsical.
Like one of the things I love making fake intellectual property is one of my, like the Sadie Brazen books. And the fact that a bunch of my jobs that I worked at, we had to watch a VHS tape called Bloodborne Pathogens.
Yes.
Like, which is about like how to deal with like, you know, blood, like when I was teaching and other stuff. And when I worked at Clooney Williamsburg. So I thought it'd be hilarious if the Realm Below's HR department mandated that they had to watch spirit-borne pathogens.
Yes.
So, and that they're like really mad about someone stealing the yogurt out of the
fridge.
The fridge. Yes. And the fake, you know, like hang in there, baby posters.
Yes.
I really, that is sort of 100% my id. And also just people getting their comeuppance, like really satisfyingly getting their
Oh,
comeuppance.
And they
yes.
did.
That is
They
very
did in
much
this
an
one,
id
yes.
thing for me. And again, like starchy men getting unstarched, like getting undone. I love it. Cannot get enough of it. It is one of my favorite character archetypes that I do sort of come back to just because it appeals to me.
Please never stop.
And
Don't stop.
Same for us.
um
Like,
and also
never enough.
caretaking. Like
Mm-hmm.
hurt comfort stuff. You know, it's not a spoiler to say Gwen's pregnant. You
Yeah.
know this from the end of, Zomrom-com. And I have not much interest in writing babies or children in romance. But I read a fanfic of Parks and Recreation many years ago, where when Ben and Leslie meet, she's already pregnant.
Oh.
Because she was, Amy Poehler was in that season. She
Yeah.
was already pregnant. So basically it was like, well, what if the character had also been pregnant at that time? And then it was just a short fanfic, but it was so lovely. And I was like, oh, I like this. I don't want babies. I don't
It's
want
a hard
children
phase of life.
in here.
If I'm honest, from my perspective, it's a hard phase of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, but if she's already, and didn't really want an unexpected pregnancy between her and the main character. But I was like, but if she's already pregnant, that opens up a lot of possibilities for caretaking and her comfort too,
Yeah.
which is one of my essential sort of catnip id elements. And so I was like, this I can do. And so I thought that would be kind of fun for me to include as sort of something I'd never done before, and make it so that it's not about necessarily children per se, but it is about a little bit about her comfort, that sort of aspect of things.
Allie and I in our group chat separately were talking about this in particular, that we really enjoyed that because she was pregnant, that wasn't just what the whole plot was. Like, she was still an individual and she can still do stuff even though she's pregnant, but also, like you said, it gave opportunity for growth between them. Or if she is trying to do something and all of a sudden, like, yeah, she's having a hard time because she's pregnant, like maybe let's care for the pregnant person, to care for them, but not treat them as they're fragile and just have to sit here and gestate. And now their whole personality is just being pregnant woman, soon to be mother. Right. That was so refreshing and empowering. And I loved it.
To me, it's another part of the idea of normalizing bodies.
Yeah.
Like normalizing larger bodies, normalizing menstruating bodies. When I did 40 Love, there's a scene with menstruation, normalizing a pregnant body. That's sort of part of my over a decade long project now. And this is part of it as well.
I love all of that. I was just going to say that pregnancy is usually at the bottom of my list as far as trope, because I hate it being a plot device. I hate it. And I think that when it's a plot device, the agency and opportunity for choice it doesn't feel authentic. And I think that you did such a great job right in the beginning, setting up, this is what happened. This is, what I wanted to do, and this is what I'm doing. And it's amazing. So that's like what you hope for everyone, is to be able to make their own choices about their own body and the future that they imagine, navigating situations that you're like, hey, this wasn't exactly what I thought, but I'm super excited about it because I didn't think that I was going to ever be able to be a mother because I'm an oracle and I'm isolated and I can be in danger. So I really liked how you did that. And obviously then Hugh's like amazing, like,
not even an issue.
Full dad mode, full send of the dad mode with like, he's like, this is the safest stroller. This is the best crib. What do you think of the snoo? Like all of that stuff. He would definitely, I feel like he would totally get the snoo. Don't you think?
I think he would research the absolute safest and best quality things for
and money would be
no
object.
That's the fantasy.
That is. And he takes on the mental load of figuring out what you need and then figure out the best product and then just delivering it to you and probably also setting it all up.
Yeah.
Great. That's the best part.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was important to me that at least the issue of abortion was mentioned.
Yep.
That like she considered seriously having an abortion. Here's why she decided not to. And that it was, I want that also to be normalized.
Yeah.
So even though that wasn't her choice in this particular instance, that was a valid choice that she could have made. It just wasn't the choice that she did make.
Yeah. And it's like hardly ever talked about like in those situations. And I love that you did that. So,
And I love how she was thinking about it as well from like what she actually wanted. It wasn't immediately just like a moral, like never, like there are options to me. What do I want from my life? And I could do either. And what does that look like?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're okay, we wanted to share a couple quotes from the book that we loved. Dare we say an id interlude from our last question
into our id. That's what we're gonna do.
Allie, do you want to go first?
I would love to. You're probably not gonna be surprised by this, but this is right in the beginning. Gwen is on her way to try to convince Hugh Black to help her save the world, basically. She hadn't seen Hugh Black in over 2 decades, and their last encounter had left her devastated and sobbing. She'd prefer to arrive at his apartment disguised as a confident, glamorous woman of obvious success and importance. Instead, she was reappearing in his life as the ersatz mayor of Flavortown. Her only comfort, at least, she refused to wear Kip's stick-on goatee. Now, when I read this, I wanted to know if you wrote this for me specifically, not knowing me, but I think that you did, because I do happen to have a group of friends that like, there was maybe like a former partner that was nicknamed Triple D for reasons that I cannot get into. And so then instead of that, it obviously naturally transitioned into like that person immediately is like Guy Fieri. And so I just was dying laughing. And I definitely sent that quote passage over to them. So yes. I was like,
and did they appreciate? Were they immediately like, where's this from? Do we need to read it?
Yes. Like, and I obviously had to send like 8, gifts on, in the chat with appropriate Fieriness. So,
when I visit my mom, one of the things I most miss here is Food Network. Mm-hmm. And when I go to my mom, so I watch a lot of Food Network when I go visit my mom in the US. And sometimes there's nothing on the Food Network except like 12 hours of Triple D. Yeah. So like, it's like all so I don't know. I don't know whether I wrote it when I just been to my mom's, but like, in my sleep, I can hear like, I'm Guy Fieri. We're rolling out.
We're rolling out. Yes.
Now that you say that about the Food Network, I ended up having to be in the hospital for about 5 days when I had my son. But we put on the Food Network and it was nonstop, like Triple D, and then also Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay. Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay. Like just, I feel like I'd wake up, the nurses are coming in to do the vitals, and it'd be like Bobby Flay, like just nonstop.
That network is held up by the twin pillars of Guy Fieri and Bobby Flay.
It is true, and they're on season like 85.
What pillars 85. They are?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they've tried to expand like the repertoire somewhat, but like they have a zillion shows each, and they will show, if they show one episode of Throwdown, they will show 12 episodes of Throwdown.
That's correct.
It's never just
in for a penny, in for a pound, Olivia. You're here all night in this hotel. Because it's always also on hotels too. That's like what's always on the TV.
I was like, is Bobby Flay making crispy rice again? Who'd have guessed?
Is he maybe putting in chilies and something? I think he's probably putting in those Fresno chilies. That's what it is, the Fresnos.
And the ají amarillo in the recent year or two, and I will say I was influenced. And I got some ají amarillo. It is delicious.
And the anchovies too. He's like throwing anchovies.
I haven't done the anchovies.
Me either. Yeah. I want to because I know it's probably good, but I'm like, I don't want to do it. Oh, okay. So here's my quote, and this is from Hugh. Let me rephrase. He sounded out the word slowly, cautiously, as if gauging her reaction to each one before attempting the next. What would make you happier or more comfortable right now? Whether or not you think I can or should provide those things. I immediately highlighted that when reading, and I just feel like it's not just the female experience, but I think in general, sometimes we're so used to putting other people's needs first, or like, I should be fine, or like, I don't need that. Like, I'm not on death's doorstep. I will be fine. So the fact that he recognized that about her personality, she's been on her own for so long. She can do things, she can get by, that he noticed it and also like gently rephrasing it in that way. I was just like, oh, Hugh. Again, a version of caretaking, right? Like emotionally and then physically. Like, even if it's just a glass of water, can I get you a glass of water?
Right. I do think a lot of people, but especially, women, tend to downplay things that they want or need because they don't want to be a bother.
Yes.
And yeah, and he's trying to get around that instinct because she already feels like she's an enormous bother because he's doing, I mean, frankly, a potentially life-ending favor for
Just a
for her.
little
I mean, it's
favor.
good for humanity.
Help me end the world or stop the world from ending, or we might die.
Certain
Either
death.
or.
Yeah. I mean, it's also for the sake of humanity in the world, but he's doing what she wanted him to do, and I think she feels like she should not be bothering him
Anymore.
further. But so he's trying to get around that instinct and find a way to sort of, and I'm very familiar with sort of that personality type. My mother is like this. And you have to kind of trick her into saying what she wants,
Yep.
because she will not just say it. I'm like, just say it. Like, do you want? And she's like, no, no.
I'm
And I'm just like,
okay. I'm okay.
just tell me. Just tell me.
Like, I want
Don't
you to
make me
want
do
something.
this dance. Don't make me do this dance. But that's just how she was raised and how she is. And so he was trying to sort of work his way around that sort of instinct. So I'm glad that worked for you.
And then I cheated a little bit. Usually Allie and I pick one. I even put in our notes. I'm like, Allie, forgive me. I had to do one more because, again, I just love Hugh so much. And then this is from towards the end of the book. Do you love me, Hugh? Yes. Immediate, unequivocal. Like darkness loves a spark, in your absence, more than I can bear. I was just like so deep and shows how much he yearns for her and loves her in that visual. Poetry, Olivia, poetry.
I really enjoy writing sort of declarations of love, but it is hard to encompass sort of deep, genuine devotion in a way that feels, you have to make it feel appropriate to the character
Yeah.
and earned, hopefully,
Yeah.
but also, make it seem not generic. Because, I mean, it's hard to encompass devotion in words sometimes that don't feel
Authentic.
like they haven't been used a million times before. And so I'm glad that it felt that felt right for the characters and also felt appropriately swoony. I want swoony.
Oh, it did. I immediately, my stomach dropped, but in that good way of like, oh, and like when it's being told and what's going on in the plot, it was just, again, I had to cheat, Olivia. I had to do too.
You mentioned Reese Winterbourne earlier. I am not obviously Lisa Kleypas, but one of the things I love about a lot of her books, there are things, frankly, I find somewhat problematic about some of them, but the headlong devotion of the male main characters for the female main characters, and sort of that is like, I'm always trying to capture in my own books in my own way for very different types of stories, because I find that is my catnip. It is so seductive to me. And I love that. And it makes me so happy that you feel like again, with very different sorts of writing, very different sorts of books, and even somewhat different sorts of characters usually, that you feel like I captured even a tiny corner of that makes me very happy.
Well, you're very good at it. So, yes.
Well, thank you. I am honored.
So we talked a little bit about like how you grabbed a little kernel of that devotion that we were talking about. How do you plan your character arcs, your character development? Because you always are able to very deftly tackle real people issues, mental health. We talked about fascism in this book, community mobilization. Like we did a lot in this book, and it's very layered and it feels very natural. And so we're curious how you get it done.
I mean, one thing that is important to me is even when a situation is ridiculous in some fashion, so I put my characters in situations that may be dramatic or, in this case, a sort of paranormal universe, but even like At First Fight, a situation that Athena finds herself in, right?
Yeah.
So I'll put them in a sometimes ridiculous situation, but then I play it straight in there. in the sense that I'm like, if you were a real person in this situation, how would that feel? And like try to acknowledge it so that their reactions make sense for who I'm saying they are,
Mm-hmm.
and the experiences that they're saying that I'm saying that they have had. What reaction would they actually have? And try to sort of play it straight within that so that they feel, yeah, like real people, like lived in people, and sometimes if there's a plot that requires certain things to happen, I have to sort of go in and say, well, if that's something that needs to happen, what sort of personality or backstory would explain why that happened? So, like, if, for instance, I mean, again, going back to At First Spite,
Mm-hmm.
the idea was Matthew's going to break up her engagement to his brother. But I don't want you to hate Matthew.
Right.
Yep.
How do I explain why he did that? And then you build the backstory and the personality to sort of make it make sense. It explains it in a way that feels real. Like if it were a real person, maybe this would be something that they would do and you would understand why. And so that is sort of, as I'm building a story, it's a mixture of what things need to happen. What are the things I want to have happen in the character? Like, what are those character types that I want to explore? And how do I make these things make sense together so that it doesn't feel like they're cardboard characters moving through an obstacle course I've created for them? I mean, obviously, I made the world
Yeah.
and sort of like the plot, but what sort of personalities and backstories would then their choices make sense?
Yeah.
And that is, I don't know if that answers your question, but
It
that's
does.
sort
It
of,
does. Yeah.
And also, I feel like that really resonates, Olivia, that I feel like a lot of times with like character sketches and this, which just isn't bad either, but you start with like the basics, like eye color, what do they look like, their favorite hobbies, and that's great. But sometimes it just feels overwhelming where it's almost like reverse math. Like,
mm-hmm,
you have this scene or you have this character. Okay, how would they get there? And then you can
right,
kind of go backwards. That feels more authentic to where you want to go instead of trying to build from the ground up with endless possibilities that like you have
mm-hmm,
one or two scenes or you really know like why would he
mm-hmm,
be there or what would be his upbringing or education or financial
right,
situation that may make sense to get him there because that's the goal.
right,
So as someone who also as well when I do my own creative work, sometimes I have one or two scenes which makes me want to like actually write that story.
mm-hmm,
So I love that so much.
right. So, I mean, sometimes I start a story with, like a plot thing I might want to have happen. Sometimes it's a personality thing.
Hmm.
Like the number one thing with At First Spite was Athena had to be messy. And then I'm like, how messy can I make her? And the answer was yes.
Yes. More.
More. All
uh,
of the mess.
More.
financially, every other way, like how can we make this, depression wise and so forth. So sometimes I start with, personality, sometimes it's a plot thing. And then but it all
Combined
sort of
it.
gets interwoven together. I am a plotter. So by the time I start actually writing the book, I generally have written down, I know what's going to happen. Like within a particular scene, I may leave it a little open. Like I'll know that within a particular chapter, this information needs to come out. This is sort of what needs to have happened to their relationship. But it could be like they have dinner together. This gets revealed. They leave it at the end feeling frustrated with each other or something like that. But then I give myself some wiggle room within that for improvisation. But I know what the goals are of those scenes before I begin writing, so that it all hopefully makes sense character wise and also plot wise before I start.
And probably a
So,
smoother than writing process for you for that first draft.
but for some people, I mean, that is the really beautiful mystery of writing to me,
Yeah.
is that I have friends who are complete seat of the pants, like they do not know what they're writing when they sit down for the day, and they just do it on the spot, and they end up with cohesive, beautiful books, including sometimes books with like very complicated plots that they
And you're like,
that
how
they
does your
generate
beautiful
on
brain do that?
Yeah.
it. I don't understand how they do it, but they do. And like and in the end, you both come up with a book. Like, and it can be, some people only work with in crowds, in cafes, with music. I like silence by myself, door shut. It is wonderful to me, sort of to look at all the different processes and preferences and how it all comes together to wonderful books.
Yeah.
And it's also different and unique.
And pick your own
So-
adventure for what works for you, right? So it's not just one formula, because it wouldn't work
Right.
always for everybody. So if you really want to
Yeah.
do it, find what works for you, which is
And it can
lovely.
change book to book.
Yeah.
Like whatever, process works for you for one book may not work for you for another book. So you got to keep hacking your brain, not literally hacking.
No, but I was just thinking that, like,
Well,
that's
we are
brilliant. And I've
talking
never heard that before. Usually you talk about, like, what's your process, and you just assume that they just always do it that way. But that makes sense. Like, you change as a person, your life circumstances change. So why wouldn't that, like, something that maybe worked before, you just need to make a micro adjustment to make the environment or whatever situation work for you right now.
Yeah. Usually I don't do word count goals. I find they can make me very sort of tense and stressed, and I don't want to force things. Because I had waited so long to start this Eat, Faye, Love,
Yeah.
I was like, to get this done by deadline, I've got to get 3,000 words every weekday, 5 days a week until this book is done. So I have enough time to do a round of edits before I turn it in. And that worked for me this time. I kept working till I hit 3,000 words. It didn't matter whether that was 2 p.m. or whether it was 8. Like, I was like, nope, I'm hitting this
Can't
goal.
go.
So I'm taking the weekend off. Like, I want to have 2 days off so I can rest. I mean, I was going at max. Like, I could not work any harder than that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big goal.
But it worked. But that would not have worked for other books that I've written.
Right.
So it's an ongoing process of trying to figure out, being kind to yourself, paying attention to yourself, and like, what is working, what's bringing you joy. Because honestly, if you're not enjoying it, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's no guarantee of sales. There's no guarantee of positive reviews. The only thing that you can control is the writing process and how it feels to you. So if it is a miserable slog, see what you can do to fix it, because there is no guarantee that even if you slog through this whole thing, that there's going to be a best-selling book on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure the process is as joyful as possible, which is why, again, I was like, I do not want to write over the winter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you figured that out.
I think it's always, I love hearing about different processes. Like, every author has the way that they do things. And I even like surprised myself when I started writing. My vibe is definitely a planner. So I really thought I was going to be like somebody that had a 20,000 word plus super detailed outline. And that is not what I do. It's not efficient. So I would like to be a little bit more of a hybrid person, but I think it's always very interesting. And yes, like you said, how things evolve over time and with just like different life seasons, different constraints, all that stuff as well.
I mean, there are some people, if I get too granular then I don't want to write it as much if I planned out everything.
Yeah.
I have to plan out
enough.
I plan out a lot, but I have to leave myself enough wiggle room so that there is room for improvisation. Because if I feel like I've already written it, then I don't want to write it again.
It's not as fun.
So
yeah.
I love it. Olivia, we have 2 little fun games just because why not? We're here. Let's do it. Allie, do you want to go first with your game?
It would be my greatest honor. And based on my quote that I shared today, you're not going to be surprised about this game. But today we're going to be playing This or That, Guy Fieri edition.
Okay.
So, all right. This or That, diners, drive-ins, and dives, or Guy's grocery games.
I know. It's hard. The first one, she really making you choose.
I think Guy's grocery games, because I like having... He is typically, I haven't watched it for a year or 2 now, but he typically actually really has an eye to diversity in his contestants, and like cooks at all sort of levels, chefs at all levels of different types of eateries. And I appreciate that. I think it's clear that he actually does make an effort to promote diverse on his chef testants.
We love that. And just people running around with a grocery cart is fun.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't it fascinating, by the way? Sorry, this is completely off topic. The Tournament of Champions is the one food sort of championship, competition where it is completely blind. Like, the judges don't even know who the people involved are. Like, they don't know who the cooks involved are at all. right? It's not just it has to be one of these two people. And fascinatingly, at least all the seasons I've seen where they had no idea who it was, women have swept.
Oh my goodness.
In a male-dominated
that does not
industry.
usually happen in the other ones. And
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it is true. I think, first of all, he puts a lot of women in the Tournament of Champions, but I think it's because it is a truly blind competition and most of them are not. And suddenly the women were like killing it.
Oh my gosh,
So,
I need to rewatch
that's just
and
my
notice.
little personal, that's my personal theory on that.
I think you're probably onto something with that.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Yes.
This or that. Trash can nachos or Motley Q pulled pork?
For our listeners, she also didn't get this
Sorry,
beforehand.
the Motley Q part
Yeah, I did.
just killed me.
I'm sorry putting you on the spot, but there's
no,
only
it's okay.
4 this or that, so I thought it would be.
No, I will say this. I have a real soft spot for Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave a call out to that in all the feels because I do love that song, and Alex loves it because the synth speaks to his soul and some of that. But so I have to say, I guess the Motley Q because I do love Home Sweet Home. Is one of my favorite 80s classics.
And you love a pun, so it's
I do. It was irresistible to me.
All right. Meat sweats or cheese sweats?
It's gotta be cheese sweats.
Cheese sweats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of like, it's this or that. Which would you prefer as far as a situation you would like to be in? You can only drive in the red Camaro with the top permanently down, and it has to be done in all types of weather, or your hair is permanently bleached and spiked with like the heavy duty industrial gel, and it never flattens.
I think I gotta go for, you have to realize I am a hermit. It is, so I would rarely be driving anywhere.
Okay.
So I think I gotta, also I'm pretty low maintenance, so I think I gotta go for the Camaro with the top down at all times.
Okay.
Good luck in Sweden. There isn't a lot of Camaro like convertible.
You would stand out
weather.
so hard.
Just shoveling out snow from there to like hop in
the upholstery is going to be so fucked.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was so delightful. I don't even know if I can follow this, but your dedication.
Yes, you can.
I know your dedication for this book with your son and his love for cheese was adorable. I have a 4-year-old son, and we both love cheese. Some might say too much, but I think Gwen would say you could never love cheese too much. So we decided we're going to do a little game of Fuck, Marry, Kill, but cheese edition for the cheeses that are in this book. Okay.
I'm here for it.
Are you ready for your first choices?
By the way, did I make you look up that cheese with that she accidentally swipes right and then has to...
Yes, I did.
Did you read the Wikipedia entry on that cheese?
I did, and I did not put this in here for you because I want it, because that would clearly be a kill. Have you tried it?
No, God. First,
like,
it's illegal. I mean, it is illegal. Also, it is disgusting.
It is.
No.
And there were so many delightful cheeses in here to choose from, so this wasn't even hard to put together. It blended so well. So we have Appenzeller, lavender infused goat cheese, or the Membrillo topped aged Gouda.
Okay, now when you're adding in the Membrillo, which is like a quince paste,
Yep.
which is sweet and delightful, that on top of the Gouda automatically brings it to, I think. That's got to be... Okay. So we have that. We have, what was the first one again?
The Appenzeller. That's the hard cow's milk cheese from Switzerland.
I think I gotta kill the Appenzeller. Like the Swiss style cheeses, sometimes I like a lot of them, but sometimes they're not my favorite.
Yeah.
It depends. But so it's between that and the lavender goat cheese. Also, I think you gotta fuck the lavender goat cheese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little more like
pungent. Like goat cheese can sometimes have a range.
I love goat cheese, and I do, but I think the one I've got to marry that will be mine forever is the Membrillo topped. Was it Gouda or Hauda?
It was Gouda. Yeah, I think it was Gouda, or did I do that wrong?
It's they pronounce it Hauda there, but we all pronounce it
Gouda.
Okay,
so
yeah. So either one is
we peasants.
Either one is Gouda.
Okay.
Either one is Gouda.
This sounded delicious, and I love that your recommendation because I am gonna go try it. But I didn't know for the sweet Spanish quince paste. I didn't know if that would be like sweet jammy or if it would be more like fruit cake dry raisiny. So that was my when I was doing my homework, I was like, but I've never tasted it before. But your description sounded delightful.
There's also this, I think it's called Divina. It's like a fig spread that is like
Yes,
this
it's in my
jammy.
fridge.
It's so good on like a lot of different cheeses. You might want to check it out with different cheeses.
Okay. I'll do this really hard homework assignment.
Yeah.
All right. The pairing for the next one. Morbier, Gruyere, or the Stilton?
Stilton is kill. I'm not a big blue cheese gal.
Yeah.
They're a little too sharp for me. So it's Morbier and then what was the other one?
The Gruyere.
Oh, the Gruyere. Morbier, I think Morbier is very good on a tart apple. But the Gruyere, I think I love in a lot of different contexts. So I think I got to marry that. The Morbier can be a little mild unless it's paired with the tart apple. Morbier is really distinctive looking because it has this black line in the middle that it looks like it's going to be like a blue cheese mold thing. It's not. It's a line of ash. They still do it from when they used to put a layer of ash between the morning milking and the afternoon milking to sort of stop things from. So like it doesn't taste like anything. It's not, it's not mold or anything.
I think it's cool that they still do that though. Like a nod to the original way they manufactured it.
It's really good with tart apple. So
definitely gonna try that. All right, and the last one is more of a fun category for the cheeses. We have Velveeta because that's in there. Okay. Cheese Whiz, and then the Colby Jack cubes.
Okay, so I think we got to do. So we had Velveeta.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Cheese Whiz is kill.
Okay.
Because Velveeta, you can do the Rotel you got the dip with the tomatoes and the jalapenos. Like you got to do that, and also a lot of I don't use it, but a lot of people do put some Velveeta in their mac and cheese because it melts so beautifully and gives like a certain velvetiness, and then put other cheeses for like the more the flavor. So it's a really good melting cheese, obviously. So it's got to be. I love Colby Jack, man.
So you're marrying Colby Jack, fucking Velveeta,
I'm marrying Colby
and
Jack.
Then we're killing that Cheese Whiz in the can.
We're killing the Cheese Whiz, yeah.
I love it.
Well, thank you for playing our games.
Yeah, they're just a little fun.
No, they're so thoughtful for you two, and I'm just so delighted to use some of my really random cheese knowledge.
Yeah, I honestly, you're definitely the person to like do the cheese plate for the party, or if somebody like you could maybe have like a consulting service and be like somebody's like, okay, I've got a board that I got to make, in 2 weeks. What do I need to get?
I've been making them for my family, and they've been complaining because I haven't made as much recently just because we've been busy. So I need to get back on it. And like I have all these like little jams, like special jams.
It makes it
to put on. So
you're in
fun.
Deep.
It's fun. And then at the end, we all rank sort of which ones we like best. And I make notes to myself of like what my family members prefer.
Because you're adorable and a sweetheart.
I can recreate it.
So
it's fun.
What are you working on now? If you can give us any details. And if you can't, we understand.
What I'm about to do is probably after World's Okayest Oracle comes out, I'm going to do the edits on Eat, Fae, Love. And
never stop saying it.
One of the things that I really wanted to do with this series was I really love playing with. I read all types of romance, right?
Same.
I've always read all types of romance with very few exceptions. So I read kisses only. I read erotic romance.
Yep.
I've read romantic suspense and sci-fi and fantasy romance and mysteries with a romantic arc. And, there are very few subgenres that I have not, that I don't love. And I've always wanted to sort of explore some of those. And that's part of what the Supernatural Entanglement series is, with paranormal romance in general, because I've always loved it. But even within the series, I've also sort of quietly pivoted amongst different sort of sub genres. So like the first one is a little bit horror inflected because of the zombies.
Yeah.
So it's a paranormal rom-com with a little tinge of horror. The second one is paranormal rom-com with a little tinge of suspense. And then the third one is paranormal rom-com that's also kind of a murder mystery.
Oh, who done
So
it?
I'm excited.
They're snowed into this Norwegian resort and people start dying. And
Okay.
so like so it's I want to have, we will have at some point, I don't know how it's completely going to be utilized, but like when I was growing up I read a lot of Agatha Christie and they always had the cast of characters, like the beginning, the list of all the characters
and the setting,
and
like the beautiful, like the Norwegian.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just, for the book release, can we rent out a Norwegian cabin in the snow and just like have a party with cheese boards and like
you
do a
need
little
to
writing retreat?
discuss that with my publisher. I'm on board.
Okay,
Yeah,
and we could do another podcast.
Absolutely,
we could get stuff
make
in
this
there.
We could make this a media trip.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Make it an event.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of fun to sort of do that sort of thing. You know, to like do a little bit of a murder mystery. I was curious if one of my favorite things about writing is that it's an opportunity to sort of explore, like, it's like, can my brain do that? Let's find out.
Yeah.
Like, can I write a murder mystery?
Let's see.
Let's find out. If it's bad, then, you know, I switch gears and we do something else. But like, let's find out. It turns out I think I think it worked. Like I'm pleased with, well, no, I know it worked. I'm pleased with it. I think it is what I wanted it to be. And that is a good feeling.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen when you finish a book where you write and you're like, this is what I wanted it to be. And it is a feeling that I had for many of my books, luckily, but not all of them. And I felt that way at the end of this, and I'm really happy with it. So I've got to do edits. They're not too extensive, because
you were in a good headspace.
That has to feel good too. Like that has to feel really validating.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. So it's not a secret. You find out at the end of World's Okayest Oracle, it involves Kip.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Thora, whom you will meet during the course of this book, but it involves Kip. And I'd intended to do at first a different troll, but I'm like, but I was
It's
like,
gotta be Kip.
It's gotta be Kip. Like
Kip is so much fun.
When you were writing him, did he just come in more than you thought he was going to? Like, did he take a life of his own? Like sometimes side characters do. Like it's just.
Mm-hmm. It is very much when I don't know if you've read the Spoiler Alert series, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have, yeah.
But I wrote Spoiler Alert, and I knew Marcus was gonna have a best friend, but I did not really plan him out that much. And then suddenly Alex, sort of more than any other character I've written, like just blossomed, sort of fully formed on the page, and I found him so deeply hilarious and entertaining that I had planned to write Shipwreck second.
Oh, interesting.
But I was like, no, I asked my editor, I'm like, can I write his book, which would never been planned? And she's like, oh, I forgot that we were not supposed to be doing this.
Great. Forget I asked you and just pretend it always was the plan.
And so I end up writing his book because he did sort of spring, you know, like was Athena from the head of Zeus. Yeah. Like he kind of sprang fully formed from the page. And that is to a certain extent Kip as well. I just find him such, you know, and kind of a himbo.
Yeah, the vernacular they use
gourmand.
when they talk to each other. It's just so entertaining and different and delightful.
Yeah, and I wanted to have, like, my dudes were a little more intense the first two books, and I wanted to sort of change that up. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted her to be the one who's a little more serious, and for him to be the one who is, like, again, like, slutty gourmand himbo.
Perfection.
Done. Yes, as we're screaming for more. So
I was
always
found your
audience.
What they were pulling out of just like what they were eating
hide in the pockets
at
of
all
the
times in the weirdest situations.
There's an explanation for that in this book.
Oh, I'm so excited. And like we know what motivates them.
We do.
They have a strong goal.
The promise of free Michelin star buffets.
That's what wouldn't we all do for that, to be honest? Like if I didn't have to do the mental energy of buying groceries and cooking, and then it's like a Michelin star. Delightful.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on next. I'm super excited about it. So
yay.
Yeah.
And we're excited. Thank you for sharing, because we understand like contractually sometimes you can't, but we're delighted that you were able to give us a little peek behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz style today.
Yes. We love it.
Do you have a most underrated advice for writers or aspiring authors?
I think something that is emphasized, I wish were emphasized more, because there's a lot that out there about craft and so forth, is the importance of finding a community.
Good one.
Not for everyone it is. I was very fortunate in that the days of Twitter, when it was still Twitter and before
Rest in peace.
Elon Musk. I found in the days before RWA, Romance Writers of America, imploded.
Yes.
I came up before that, and so it was easier for me to form a community. But the importance of, my first critique partner was Mia Sosa.
That's insane.
She and I became
Like, what do you
critique
mean?
partners in 2014. Before either of us had agents. We each had written a book which would never see the light of day, both of our books. But we didn't have agents. We didn't have deals. Like, it was just, we had both finished drafting our first book and we found each other. And like Emma Barry and I have been friends since 2015. And like people who are the same stage of their career as you are.
Yeah.
Because frankly, what I can tell a writer just starting out is not going to be nearly as useful as someone who's sort of at the same stage of things. Because the publishing industry changes so vastly, and depending on where you are now in your career, it's what you need to do and how things work is going to be very different for you. And it's important too that, like, if you're going through the query minds, do you have friends who have done that recently? Like, I can empathize, but it's been a long time and I don't know best practice anymore. And you want people around you who understand what you're going through right now. It's good to get advice from people who, are maybe at a different place later in their career. But without the community, I wouldn't be here now. But I also just wouldn't have. Let me tell you how lucky I am. This is how fortunate I am. I have a friend who moved to Portugal. And almost every weekday when we're both in town and we get on a Zoom call and like do hour-long blocks of work together. Aww. And just check in every hour.
I love that.
When Emma Barry is not on campus because she's a professor, she's usually off a couple days a week, and during the summer she's off. She and I, because she's on U.S. time, in my afternoon I hop on with her and work with her in the afternoon. Wednesdays I work with someone else for an hour or two. Mondays or Fridays, usually there's another good friend of mine who I do an hour or two with, or sometimes just chat. But my point is that writing can be a very isolated and isolating profession. It is brutal in a lot of cases, whether or not, like, wherever you are in your career, there is not a lot of stability and there's a lot of unknowns, and it can be very ego destroying. Like a lot of it. You need a community around you. And if you are someone who needs people, I'm an introvert, but I need a community. And like, it is what has made writing a joy for me and what's made it a career of, again, in romance years, 12 years is a long time.
It is.
To be doing this. And it's made possible because I have people I love, who are there with me in the trenches, keeping me company and loving me back.
Oh, that is
and
so
like,
I love that.
So like, try to find a community, because that is actually, again, along with the writing process, that's the one part you can control. And part of the way you can control that is to make a community part of that.
And probably helps it make it more enjoyable, like you talked about. Like, if the writing process you're not having fun and it isn't enjoyable.
Yeah. It feels like a water cooler. Like, we don't say anything. Like, we're both working for like 45 minutes to an hour, but then we check in, or like, you're like, oh, why is this sex scene taking so long?
What's wrong with it?
What is happening?
I'm like, get on with it, people.
I can't figure out the logistics. Can I read this too quick? Can you tell me, does this visualize right for you? Am I missing something?
I'll ask questions. I'm like, is this hot or just weird?
Because I want it to be close. Like, it should be, but the weird where it's still hot and like decisive.
I was like, it's fine if it's a little weird, but it's got to be still hot. So, romance writing gave me my circle of friendships. It gave me a community. It gave me work I love. It gave me so many amazing readers. But yeah, the community aspect of things is what is going to make it worthwhile when everything else goes to shit.
Yeah.
And periodically, even if you're
does.
someone who's considered successful, it will.
That's the one
know?
constant that will happen.
Yeah. So, like, with very few exceptions, you got to have people around you. I hope you find people to be around you who can support you. So craft is important. Community, also very important, which is in my books.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is why we love your characters
Yeah,
so
every
much.
single one.
Yeah.
Every single one, because it is so important to me.
Oh, that is so refreshing. I mean, Allie and I met in our writing group.
We
We didn't
did,
know
yeah.
each other before this. And our love for it is kind of what decided for us to start the podcast too, because we wanted to find a community and share our passion. So that's reassuring that, you know, we're getting there.
We're pretty chatty too.
We are very chatty.
We're sending like really long voice notes, like 25-minute voice notes in the group chat, and it's like, okay, like, you know. And Amber's husband was like,
it's adorable.
You know, why don't you try doing something with that? And we're like, okay. So
yeah, he was like, maybe just start a podcast, and we were like, should we?
Yeah.
You're like, do as almost every white man has done.
That's right.
Start a podcast.
If they can do it, so can I. I can promise you that.
I was at a book fair and I met someone who has a history in podcasting, and she was so lovely. And she's like, well, if you ever want to meet for coffee. And I was like, I would love that, but do you have the time? I don't want to, like, in addition to, we're just two random like white ladies on the internet. And she's like, the amount of time I've had to work with men on microphones, I probably didn't deserve it. I want the two women on the microphones. And I was like, I love you already so much.
Okay. You've been doing this for a long time. Lots of publishing trends have come and gone. So channeling Gwen and tapping into your own oracular side, do you have any like upcoming publishing predictions or like trends that you feel like are on the cusp again, or something that's going to go away?
Or maybe hopeful. You can just say you hope for something if you don't have any predictions.
Right. I mean, I think there's a couple things. There is, I do think publishing romance is very cyclical. So historical romance is having a down moment right now. It will inevitably rise again, like the phoenix.
Thank God.
I actually was just talking in Blue Sky today about what form that's going to take. And I think that's the part that I think is interesting. I would like to tell you that it's going to take the form where it's a much more diverse as far as characters, settings, and time periods. I don't know that I see publishing. It feels like publishing is sort of receded from some of the sort of commitment to diversity that like even 5 to 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm thinking something more like, I'm wondering if it's going to harken more to like old school historical romance, where like I could see book talk, like a historical romance set in the Old West with like, because, you know, there's the cowboy thing happening and so forth. That is sort of like high stakes, high drama, soapy, sort of old school set, maybe like in the Old West. That was sort of what I was thinking, because I think a lot of those same people are getting fed with dark romance and mafia romance right now.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe some of that same sort of id parts might be scratched by something that's a little more old school. For historical, for all the good parts, but also some of the more problematic parts. So that's sort of one thing. I will be very interested to sort of see what happens as far as sort of body diversity in sort of the age of like Ozempic and sort of, again, like we talked about, sort of the shifting, you know, you can look at models now, they look the way that they did when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And not the way that they looked maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're seeing sort of a retrenchment like on certain things. So I don't know. And you know, when I was growing up, I read romances since I was like 6 or 7. There was a period where a lot of the romance writers that I'd been reading forever suddenly all became romantic suspense authors.
Oh, interesting.
It was like, you know, like Sandra Brown and Catherine Coulter and a bunch of Julie Garwood, a lot of authors who had been, they all around the same time, suddenly Janet Ivanovich, all became
Love Janet Ivanovich.
mystery or suspense authors. And I I think sometimes it's a generational die-off. Like, I do wonder whether there's a similar thing, like that there's going to be a little bit of a shifting of the guard, like to different subgenres. I think there's a lot of things going on. Amazon is the 800-pound gorilla in the room here.
Yeah.
KU, as good as it is for people with limited budgets, has made it very difficult to make a living.
And with all of the AI books as well, right? With
there's that as well.
It's saturated, right? So like, how do you stand apart?
Right. It is, if you are not someone's favorite author who you're going to buy no matter what, then it's hard to, prices are so high and people's budgets are so low.
Yeah.
Like for good reason, because it's hard out there.
Yeah.
Like that it's hard to get people to spend money to buy, a $10.99 Kindle ebook when they could be getting KU as many books as they want to read.
Right.
So I think there's a very rapidly vanishing mid-list.
Yeah.
I think there's either your Allie Hazelwoods and people's absolute favorite authors. And I don't know that there's going to be a lot in between unless something changes between that and just,
or something different comes in to kind of combat the big gorilla.
I don't think publishing knows what to do. They knew how to sell to bookstores and to institutions, but grocery stores, the book sections have shrunk. Target, other places like Walmart, the book sections have shrunk. Borders is gone.
Maybe they bring back mass market.
Stores.
Do you remember the little mass markets that were cheaper, but then you could have them more and people could afford them?
Yeah. I mean, and so they don't know how to sell individually to readers.
Yep.
So they're acquiring authors who already have platforms, either from previous publishing, from indie, or previous traditional publishing, or people who are like famous for some other reason.
Yeah.
Or like have a podcast or something else. They acquire people who already have a platform. But I don't know. I think I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So I think there may be some pivoting for people who formerly would have been mid-list. There may be some pivoting to other subgenres where things are not quite so, like KU is sort of like a comet, I think.
Yeah.
I see why it is big. It's particularly, things are tough out there and people they want to read a lot of books. That is a very cost efficient way to do it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of great books on there now. Avon put my spoiler alert series on KU. Like you can read some great books, but it does sort of leave things a little dicey.
Yeah.
So sorry, that was probably not as hopeful as you wanted.
No,
that
was it's a great conversation that we've ourselves have been having on different episodes or just between the two of us. And it's nice to talk about instead of people suffering in silence and worrying about what's going to happen no matter what level of author you are. I think it's a little bit unknown. And when you were talking about publishing, I also think they're very risk adverse, or what they define as risk adverse. But at some point, if things are changing and it's not doing well, like you have to do something, right? You're going to have to take a risk of some type and change. Or if the market doesn't change, then, you might be with a ship.
I think what they've done is sort of try to pluck authors who already have a readership.
Yeah.
Either a fanfic readership, or a readership in indie, or a self-published readership, and then that is sort of how they've solved that issue. The problem is a lot of those people have become very successful. You can't rely on getting famous on Book Talk, going viral on Book Talk as a marketing strategy, because it's like a comet hitting. And frankly, that comet usually hits white, cis, straight, thin, young characters, like in this book. So that I think that's part of why the diversity, I think, has been, is if you're relying on Book Talk virality, that is going to be a very small number of books, and it's going to be historically books that are a certain type of book. So I think we'll see what happens. I mean, anytime though that there's Jurassic Park, life will find a way.
Bring it back, baby.
It will.
Like with the rise of self-publishing, all those authors, like non-white non-cis, non-straight authors who sort of kicked open a door and made an audience and a place for themselves. It's a shame that they might have to do it again.
I know.
But they will find a way because they're, I guess, I'm my only marginalization is that representation. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I always tell Allie this a little bit too, but it might be my way of trying to find hope after, like, sometimes we deep dive into the deep issues and you feel a little doom and gloom. And when they try to like push things on you, right, or we're only going to publish a certain amount, or you have to use it. Like, there's just a lot going on right now. I do feel a little bit in the power of consumerism. That's what I get to control. That like I can choose what I consume and what I don't, and trying to find diversity in my reading and my authors and the stories and things that more reflect to me. So even if something is, you know, only in that 10% and they're trying to shove down my throats, and there's still good stuff in there, right? But I get to be the decider of that. And I can choose. Money talks. At the end of the day, this is all a business, right? So if people are spending their money elsewhere in places that may be more deserving and stories that are important that need to be told, if we all did that, there's power in numbers. But I know it sometimes doesn't seem that way. But the control in me a little bit, I always try to take that with me, that like I get to control who I get to support.
Yeah. And, you know, it's going to shift. I mean, it's going to shift. There's been huge revolutions in, you know, with the rise of self-publishing and so forth, where people are scrambling sort of to figure things out. That's, you know, that's happening again. But we will see.
We will see. We just need Gwen. Yeah. We need Gwen to just take a vitamin and tell us what to do.
That was one of the most interesting parts of writing the book was teasing out what it would actually mean to have real life oracles. Like, because I was like, oh, they couldn't live openly. They couldn't, because they would be kidnapped, because they would just be too valuable. And I sort of started like thinking through, well, what are like I said, taking a ridiculous premise and sort of playing it straight. I'm like, what would that actually mean? And I was like, oh man, that would suck.
That would suck.
It would be pretty bleak. Yeah,
absolutely.
But luckily we can comfort ourselves with cheese.
Yes, cheese will always be there. This has been such a delightful interview, Olivia. We can't thank you enough. Where can we find you and our listeners find you? I know you're on Blue Sky and you have a lovely website.
I'm on Blue Sky. On my website, oliviadade.com, my newsletter, email, olivia@oliviadade.com. And that is, perfect. I try not to support meta products, and I'm certainly not still on what used to be known as Twitter. So that pretty much leaves me Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Which people find there. I found the community on Blue Sky to be just delightful.
They are. I mean, and they're great. We were just talking about sort of the future of historical romance today, sort of there. And also I was sharing trips from we just went to Iceland, showing pictures from my trip there. So please come find me there. I would love to see you.
Was your trip just delightful?
It was. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been. It's absolutely gorgeous or breathtaking scenery. I had some weird health. I came back with strep, which is why my voice sounds, and I had severe food poisoning at the beginning. But between the food poisoning and the strep, that time period between the two, it was amazing.
Oh my God.
That speaks volumes though.
It does.
Of how lovely the place was, that you didn't start with like, it was awful, I was sick the whole time. You were like, it was really great in spite of having these two major things.
These two really big things happening. Yeah.
My immune system is like, no. And I was like, but it's such pretty waterfalls.
But I have to.
So no, it was amazing. It was incredibly expensive.
Oh, I bet. Even just the travel to get there.
Travel.
You know?
It's an island.
The food. It's an island, a volcanic island.
Oh, that's
in the North Atlantic. So it's everything. Almost everything is imported, and it is. Woo-hoo.
That cheese was even more expensive over there. The fancy cheese.
We did try an Icelandic cheese platter. So
was it good?
It was very good. It was very good. A couple of them were sort of blue sort of adjacent. So I wasn't like
loving.
They weren't my favorite, but I did love them. Like I said, even when you're ill, when there's only one single set of footsteps on the volcanic sand, that is where cheese carried me.
Incredible.
Cheese, when in doubt.
Jesus carried me.
Jesus take the wheel.
Also, how did you come? I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep you, but like
That's right.
the depth of the plot that was happening with the cheese romance show in the background of
Yes.
World's Okayest.
How did we forget that till now?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know because like that was a huge. There was just
And
oh
the
my
cheese
gosh.
wheel and the imprints.
Oh my god.
You know, I love fake. Like I said, I love.
You do.
There's very little I love more in this life than fake intellectual property.
That's perfect.
Like the spoiler alert, like Gods of the Gates series and
Yes.
Sadie Brazen's
Yes.
books. And I just really love absolutely unhinged, ridiculous, intellectual, fake intellectual property. And I was like, what if it was a dark cheesemonger academy? There was
It's
like an
perfect.
aesthetic. And I was like, what would happen? I was thinking like a Gossip Girl type,
Yes.
like murdery teen thing
Yeah.
set at like a cheesemonger's academy. And I was like, what would be the most unhinged thing to happen in this series? It would be amazing if there were a book series. And then I put it in there.
I love
So,
Speaking of the fake intellectual property, quick before we go, in spoiler alert,
mhm.
there is Gods of the Gates, right? Like there's a show, but we won't name any names, but there are many popular shows at the time that had some similarities that I also wasn't very happy about. And when I was reading that, I was like, I hope she and I are on the same page, and all the criticisms for that show I felt in real life. So I don't know if it was at all inspired.
It's 1,000% about Game of Thrones.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I was like, the whole time, and every time there was like little criticisms or I was like, yes, vindication.
Yeah. I have often joked that series' subtitle should have been Saltiness is Coming.
Yes.
Oh my god. I loved your tags, like just like through that whole series, like with the fic website, and just that just made my heart so happy too. It was so funny.
The fake sort of terrible movies and TV shows that Marcus was in.
Yes. Oh,
just and the fics, all the fake fanfic.
The
like,
fic was just so good.
Such a pleasure to me. Again, fake intellectual property.
That's your thing.
It is like that is my number one id thing. It's like if I can make up like a fake intellectual property that makes me laugh, then I'm there.
It will make others laugh, and it
does. Well, thank you so much, Olivia, for coming. This was a wonderful interview. We learned so much. And if you have not bought World's Okayest Oracle, Reluctantly Seeks Demon, book 2.
Or the first one, too.
Amazon rom-com, yes. And the thing, I don't think that we mentioned this, but the thing about these, they're interconnected standalones. But the thing that I really liked that you did about the format of this is we are continuing a larger development. We've got the big plot, and then we have like each character's book is sort of a smaller plot within that. But we are still moving forward in this world and trying to still solve the same overarching problem. With the government. So I like the structure of that. I feel like it's not super common in these types of books.
Yeah, I tried to have it so that, each book has a different couple, and there is like a mini problem that's solved within each book. So the first book is the zombies, right?
Just a little.
The second book is sort of the issue of like, it's not really a spoiler, like Fae involvement.
Yep.
And then the third book is a little bit more about the human conspiracy. So like the overarching thing is the conspiracy of why did this zombie breach happen and who did it.
Right.
And then, but there is like a mini problem, like part of that is solved with each book with a different set of characters. And that was always sort of my conception, try to make it, which made it more complicated.
I was just going to say, you make it look easy.
But yeah, to sort of make it so that hopefully each book feels satisfying in itself because you have solved a part of a problem, but there is still stuff to be solved, which will be in Eat, Fae, Love.
Yes. And and you do a good job of like introducing like the next couple, in like the last couple of pages, which as a reader, I always like that because I'm like, you kind of have your thoughts about maybe who is going to be in the next one in the series. And then you don't have to wait. Like it's confirmed at the end of the book that you already have in your hand, which is always a nice thing. And then you get to just like be excited about it for another year.
You feel like you're in the know, like the Easter egg just for you. Like, ooh, I know what's coming.
I really enjoyed writing the scene with Kip and Thora at the end of book 2. I just find him like I said, I find him endlessly entertaining.
I can't wait for Kip. I can't wait to see like what type of
Shenanigans,
food mishaps, perhaps. Like I feel like there's gonna be some stuff going on. So
yeah. Yeah, it's fun. And it was some of the sex scenes were the ones where I talked to my friends. I'm like, is this
weird or
is
still
this
hot?
hot?
Yeah.
Or is this like slightly weird but mostly hot?
Yeah.
And I think we've come down to side that it's mostly hot.
That's
so
perfect.
Get ready. Get ready. This is Sadie Brazen territory we're getting into.
I'm excited.
I can't wait. Well, thank you again, Olivia. We so appreciate your time. And everyone go ahead and give her a follow on Blue Sky. You're not going to want to miss the discourse over there. And World's Okayest Oracle, Reluctantly Seeks Demon, is out everywhere now.
Okay, on to our happy endings after that delightful interview with Olivia Dade. She's just so funny and lovely and smart. Like, ugh.
All the things.
All the things. Do you want me to go first for happy endings?
You can. I can.
Okay.
I have something this week, actually.
Oh, you need to go first then. You have it primed and ready to go. Tell me your happy ending, darling.
Okay, so in a couple of weeks, in-person book club, we're doing a little overnight at a spa. And so, number one, I love spas, so I'm excited about that. There may or may not also be bookstores and like a Trader Joe's situation involved. So super excited. But the thing that I am the most excited about.
It gets better than that, Allie. It gets even better.
It does. And I'll tell you why. And it's going to sound really lame, but so I am so excited. We're going to the Melting Pot for dinner. Now, it is a chain restaurant.
It is.
Is it as popular as it was, 20 years ago? No, it's not. But guess what? I wanted to go to the Melting Pot since I was like 12. And
this is fulfilling a childhood dream.
Yes. For some reason, I've never been. Like, I've tried. Like, I don't know. Things have just happened and I've never been. And so we're going. And I get to cook my own vegetables and do their vegan fondue, cheese, and chocolate. So I'm super excited.
Love this for you so much, but also this is very on topic for today. Of cheesy fondue.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, take all the pictures. I want to hear about all the spa services and report back and how delightful it was. And you deserve it. You have been burning the candle at all of the ends. Not even both.
No, I'm working nights right now, so I feel like
and
my skin is like, I'm like, what's happening? What's going on?
But you're here and you're fucking showing up. And I love you so much for that.
I love you. Tell me your happy ending.
So my happy ending may seem simple, but I'm so excited. We have a weekend home. We have no plans.
I love that.
On Sunday, we're going to go and take Lachlan to his first ever baseball game. Oh. He just started doing like soccer and t-ball with like our local rec department, so he's all excited about it. And so we're gonna go to the St. Paul Saints game. They're a AAA minor team, so it's a little smaller stadium, more intimate, and sometimes they do a little like fun stuff. Their mascot, get this, is Mud Donna. She is a pink pig.
Oh my god!
And Lachlan carries around his little piggy. You've seen it, his stuffed animal.
I have seen his piggy.
I think it's, I just, again, you never know with a 4-year-old, but I have high hopes. This is going to be so core memory for us all. We're going to go watch the St. Paul Saints and Miss Madonna. Maybe we'll get him a little hat with a piggy on it. It's going to be so fun. So it's my happy ending. We're going to take him to his little first baseball game.
Oh, little Locky Boo. It's going to be so cute. Send me lots of pics.
I will. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Welcome to season 2. We're back.
Season 2, that's right, baby.
We're back full steam every week. We have lots of big plans, but thank you so much for being here. We are in all of the places. We are on YouTube, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram. We have a newsletter. We're on Substack. Linked below in the description is easy links to everything. If you have any questions, let us know. We love to hear from you. And I think it's time for our send-off. We're going to switch roles today. Allie, would you love to send us off?
I would. Go forth in pursuit of your happily ever after. And most importantly, stay smutty. Bye.
Bye, guys.